you know, because I think it's a very complex issue. And the problem with social media is you've only got 30 seconds to grab somebody's attention.
Yeah.
And so you better be black and white rather than try and explain nuance, or else nobody's going to watch your stuff.
And you better be fear oriented.
Exactly.
Just some BS.
Exactly. So when you're like, it's
makes me
this, it's because the men were divorced. It's because the men didn't have their dads around. Well, yes. And
yeah.
there's a whole lot of other
Yeah.
ish that's going on here.
But you're going to get those people that like maybe have a connection with that.
Sure.
To get a real emotional reaction right away.
Immediately
Listen,
done.
I get real bothered by this topic because I think that it's not doing the planet a service, focusing on what's wrong to get the attention, you know, to get the emotional reaction, you know, that kind of thing. But again, what we opened this whole thing up with the brain main job is just to keep us safe.
It's true. So these things are the most, they fire our amygdala up the most, and they make us the most attentive.
Yeah, wild.
Go back. So there's another aspect to what you were talking about that I think is part of a loss of masculinity. And I think it's the isolation that you were talking about. I think men have lost a tribe.
Oh, yeah.
Like not a lot of men these days have good friends. And that is, in my opinion, part of being masculine is having good, close, safe friends. And it's hard to find.
Real hard to find. Why these groups are popular on some level.
It's a huge reason these groups are popular. And I think...
And I love that aspect of it.
With We Are the They, that was one of the things that... It didn't really come as a surprise. I think when Jimmy set this up, he knew it was that these guys were going to become friends. But I think he initially probably thought that was a secondary part, that this was going to be a coaching group. He was going to be a mentor to coach. And very quickly realized, oh man, the biggest thing that these guys are all getting out of this is really close connection and really good friends.
Yeah, so huge.
And and as you were talking about, in a marriage, you need that. It can't just be you two.
Yeah. Yep.
I need, you need to come over and help me on my car. And while Haley's at band practice and Natalie's studying.
So good. So helpful. Like, have you seen there's a trailer? Oh, Friends. That's a
Friendship.
That's a topic for me. Have you seen that trailer? Oh,
I thought it was fake because Tim Robinson is.
Oh, I'm getting kind of chills just thinking about it. You know, have I talked to you about the loss of friends in my life?
A little bit.
It's just, that's why on some level, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And my background, my dad died when I was little. My mom remarried. And the family that she remarried into was great. And I have to be careful here because I have step sisters and a brother. Wonderful. But it's their dad that I didn't have a great experience with. So anyway, that made me have to work through a lot of anxious attachment. You know, I'm afraid that my relationship is not going to be there. So I'm going to be clingy and needy and everything else. I'm actually really good at working through stuff, helping people work through stuff around that.
Yeah.
Because I've had to work through that. EMDR was a real powerful, unexpected and powerful experience to help me work through that.
Yeah.
But on that level, the friendship piece, I find myself being almost too nice and not reciprocal. You know, I have these friends from high school, like good friends. We end up, reconnecting, doing cool things together. 30 years. It's a long time.
Yeah.
I'm over 50. So long-term friendship. And I look back on my text after I'll tell you what happened. And anyway, ultimately one of them just like texted me out of the blue, and they're smart, high profile friends, right? Like,
yeah.
And I love good, smart connection. I love it. It's fun. You know, witty, bantery. It's a good time. Clever, right? So out of the blue, I was just advised on a text that he appreciates the time, but he no longer is interested in continuing. I know.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was really. Oh, and he was connected closely with these other friends. So
Yeah.
I said, hey, I'm a therapist at this point, and I'm like, that's a boundary in my head.
Sure.
Got to respect the boundary. So I said, okay, I might have even said I respect the boundary.
Yeah.
And I probably left it at that. In retrospect, I should have asked why. I didn't.
Yeah.
My
I was
bad.
going to say.
Yeah, I didn't. I was just like, I don't know what happened, but I tried to like be friends with all of them after that, but it felt scary, because in my head I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I didn't meet the friend cut or something. I don't know, but it real tapped on all that anxious attachment stuff real hard. So I basically just said, hey, in a group text that I'm not even sure got to everybody, but in a group text, I just can't do this because it feels too weird because I don't know what's going on. And on some level, I'm like wondering, I don't know if I wrote this, but are these people are my friends having fun without me? Right. And like, is it purposeful? Like so I'm like, I just cut it all off. I cut it all off.
Without knowing?
What?
Without knowing?
Yeah. I still don't know.
I know.
To this day, I don't know. So
do you think that was the right choice?
And when you say right, though, I don't think I did anything wrong at the time because that's all I knew. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
I don't like that regret word. It's a real 4-letter word to me.
How long ago was this?
Probably a couple of years.
Uh-huh.
So it was, in retrospect, I would do things differently now.
Uh-huh.
At the time, that's what I did. I didn't know any better. I did learn a lot from that. So
would it be worth going in and finding out? Just saying, hey.
I did a video on this.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. And I sent the link to the person that my friend, He's a good dude. They're all good dudes.
Mm-hmm.
But I just haven't heard back. And then another one, I reached out to him, actually it was like last week.
Mm-hmm.
And what did I say? I was like, hey, it was something like, I could look it up. Hey, I think I processed enough of this to now be able to reach out to you and hang out with you.
Yeah.
And not be like hurt still around it. Wouldn't be so. Listen, when it comes to triggers, I was going to say triggering, which is a word. When it comes to triggers, remember, trigger resistant mechanism has no explosion unless there's gunpowder. So there's way less gunpowder now than there was when this first happened for a while. So I reached out. I was hey, this is where I'm at. Here's the video, and the video pops up. Best how to heal through best friend rejection.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I think he saw this. Like, I hope I didn't make you feel like rejected. And he didn't. I rejected him at that point because it felt too unsafe.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't even think he's watched the video. He's a busy person. Like these were like, they've achieved a lot in their life. So they got lives and they're doing stuff. Yeah, so.
Well, that's
friendship. That movie though.
It looks great.
That trailer. I'm like, it felt a little too close to like, oh, I'm gonna have to watch that. But this whole conversation, thank you for letting me rant, by the way.
Yeah, I love it.
The whole conversation started out with programming wise, environmentally wise, anxious attachment, not protected on some level. I'm fearful around losing close relationships. So after this happened, I'd look back and I saw that I was texting mostly. Mm-hmm. And they weren't like harassing. It's just like, hey, just thinking of you. Hope you're well. Mm-hmm. Hey, hope your doctorate program's going well. I hope, just things like that. But it wasn't reciprocated. So I'm like, oh, see, that's that anxious attachment. I need to do more things than is required actually in a friendship. So I'm like, calm down, Jed.
So you felt like you had to do all the work.
What's that?
You felt like you had to do all the work.
Well, it's not. It's more like first of all, it's underneath consciousness on some level. You're just reacting, and it wasn't. I felt like I needed to do this overtly. They'll like me, but yeah, that's basically what it comes down to, in a real unconscious programming. When I say programming, that's just a trauma, right? It's a trauma reaction that people don't recognize. Yeah. So with clients now and myself, I almost score keep. You know,
I'm gonna play therapist here.
Love it, and I'll hear it because
where in your family history,
dude,
did you feel like your needs weren't met and you had to do all the work?
It's more like, you know, when you were in that role of protector, mm-hmm. When you were there, you probably weren't aware that you were in that role.
Not at all.
That was just how you were behaving. So when you ask the question, when were you aware of not having your needs met? I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
I was still reacting, you know, like I was. Like kids, they're growing up, their parents, this is so like, this is so, what's the word when it's same story? It's very, I don't know the word, but
anyway,
it'll come to me in like in a minute and a half.
I bet. Get there.
So it's a very normal, average story. You've heard it before. If you're listening to this, you're like, oh yeah, I've heard this. Kid grows up.
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. So like quintessential. Is that it? That's it. Just a quintessential tale.
Yes.
So kid grows up, parents get divorced, kid's angry, doesn't realize that he's angry, but he keeps on breaking shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's not getting good grades. So there's a reaction coming, but growing up, your brain is just not developed enough to understand and have that awareness.
Yeah, you don't know that you're consciously doing it. So,
well, yeah, you know you just can't. It's almost like you can't read all the way, mm-hmm. And later on, oh, that's what the book said. I can read all these words now. At the time, though, you're like skipping along, but you're still having the emotional reactions. Your grades are falling. You're getting in fights. You're on drugs or whatever. Like it's just you can see why someone is doing it through the psychology of it. But when it's happening, they don't know.
Yeah,
and especially kids, they're just not. Their brains aren't developed to an abstract enough point and able to understand just cognitively.
No, 100%. Which is why I think you have to do this work later in life.
Yeah.
And you're to look back and be like, oh, you know what? That time when I was a kid and this happened, that's probably what led to this behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the trick, because it's easy to slide into a poor me.
Yes.
It's an easy victim stance slide right there. So as adults, and I've had to work through this, you know, because as a therapist, particularly, I'm like, oh, I see this now.
For sure.
Whoa. But as a kid growing up and even into adulthood, like I couldn't see it. And it was right there. Mm-hmm. It was right there. Like my parents got divorced. Here's a funny story here. And I didn't see it at the time. It's just listen, never underestimate the power of denial. And we don't realize we're in denial when we're in denial a lot of times. Parents have divorced, but I was in my 20s, so it didn't rock my world at all. I was trying to be supportive and everything. So go to where my stepdad's living, some apartment. I walk in, and over in the mantle or whatever, someplace, are a picture of all his kids.
Mm. But not you.
Not me, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So, but I saw it, and it just didn't register. And if it did register, it was so hurtful that I just pushed it. I didn't see it. Mm-hmm. I just didn't see it. So when things are happening, your brain's going to keep you safe. In adulthood, like you're saying, you're going to have an opportunity to go in and see the things just just good not to slide into victim stance and say, poor me. It's better on some level to say that was really a sad thing for you, growing up,
For sure.
for that kid.
I always, as I have, where do I want to go with this? I don't like that thought now. Scratch that part.
Can't believe you got me to tear up.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. I like the friendship talk. I do think that the loss of a friend has got to be a really difficult thing. Yeah. And I speak from experience as well. I've had friends that I've lost for one reason or the other, and it's always hard.
I don't know how I lose friends. Like how it's the only way I think that. Listen, how do you lose friends? Because you can be apart, you can move across the country and even not have contact for years and years, but you still feel like you're friends.
For sure.
So how do you lose friends other than on some level there being a, hey, we're not friends anymore conversation or dialogue?
It may have nothing to do with you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I can see that because I cut that friendship off and it had nothing to do with that one person. I was just felt too unsafe because of the group.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
Listen, like for me, Haley and I this year, we sat down and do some goal planning. And we said, okay, last year, great year. We had 4 international trips, a big wedding. We were gone 12 weeks of the year. Way too much. It was way too much. We had a blast. Great year. What a first year of marriage. And it was way too damn much. And so
that's a lot.
Yeah, as we sat down, we said this year we need to put more focus into work, more focus into growing my practice and business. She wants to put more focus into her music, and we want to really focus more on the people that matter the most in our life. And so we had been a big part of this men's group, and so our circle was very, very large, and we were trying to maintain a lot of friendships within this very large circle. And this year we just said we want to focus solely on our family, the kids, and bring that circle down smaller. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that we're telling people on the outside of this circle, hey, we're not friends anymore. But we do have a priority shift right now where we are going to spend some more time focusing on this, which might mean that we're not going to dinner with this couple, or we're not going on this trip with these people. And I would hope that that doesn't feel like a loss of a friendship to any of these people.
Right.
And I think that the way we have done this and the way we've gone about this is coming across that way. I don't think anybody feels like, oh, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
I wouldn't think so.
But I could also see somebody being in a similar position as you, or like, oh man, Nick's not hanging out with us anymore. He's not coming to do this anymore. I wonder if I'm friends with him still. I don't know.
You ever had that experience where you were friends with someone and then you just are out of contact for years, but then you get back with proximity and it's just like friends. Just that's you were friends. You stayed friends. You have good chemistry and everything else. I think if someone were to like, I don't know if I'm friends with him anymore because he's spending too much time with his family now.
Oh, then they're not allowed to be my friend.
Right. So then there's like I think a friend is going to want what's best for you. And just like in any relationship, not enmeshed, independently okay, is going to allow that.
Yeah.
It's going to allow that.
Yeah. I think a good friendship, like a good relationship, requires that interdependence.
Yeah. And if it does rock someone's boat, then they were leaning on my friendship too much.
Sure.
They're leaning on it too much.
Sure.
Maybe I was leaning on my friendship with these 4 dudes too much. I did really value it though. I felt so blessed.
I'm sure.
It was just such a long term, like good, fun. Anyway.
Yeah,
anyway, to answer your question, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's fair. I was just thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
How would you advise somebody to find friends in today's day and age?
Right. That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're so isolated. You know what? I think that this is kind of, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think people are finding friends online more now, which is great. Also not as good as in person, but it's better than nothing, which I guess sounds like you're settling on some level.
You are.
Yeah.
I think you have to get away from these online superficial
I love
friendships.
that.
And I'm
How?
not saying that you can't get deep with somebody online, but
I don't think you can.
that's fair.
Yeah, I think you can get on some level deep, but listen, if you're getting, you have emotional attachments.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a physical proximity, the oxytocin is way more powerful, way more of a release of oxytocin, the connecting chemical. So online, it's just too much. Like if you're connecting with someone online, that's probably just because you really feel like you need to connect with someone. Because it's not really, you can pretend to be anybody.
Sure.
Online. Like I had a client, this is a wild story, young man, had his life together actually, right? Just couldn't find a partner. Comes in, he's all excited. Also very regulated emotionally, right? So it was kind of a turnoff in this culture. Even though he had all he's just not, he can't connect with me emotionally, right? So he came to therapy. This is something I need to work on. So anyway, while he was there, he connected with someone online. But guess what? She wouldn't meet him. So I'm like, hey, well, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're connecting online. I'm like, okay, will she FaceTime? She won't. She thinks it's weird. I'm like, okay, will she meet you somewhere? Well, she doesn't want to be vulnerable or feels like it's not safe. Because I'm like, boy, how many times have you? It's been like 2 months, Jed. Okay.
Catfished.
I'm like, listen, and at this point, the more he talks with her, the more even intimate they are. And then you are going to have more of a connection. And this is kind of, I think he was on some level, not baby trapped, but emotional trapped, right? Emotional trapped. So, and she's like, okay, I imagine, I'm going to show him what I look like from the other side.
Sure.
Now that I've got him nice and loves who I am, right? But they had the thing, and she was not she wasn't what she purported herself to be in regards to looks, weight, age. You know what I mean? So so he was devastated. So you can have these ties, but the physical piece, there's just more authenticity to it.
I agree.
It's reactive. You can't sit there and think about, hey, Jed just said something. Hold on a second. Hey, ChatGPT, what's a good response to this, right? Because it's just, and you're not going to be authentic. This is the most authentic.
Right. It's real time, face to face.
Yeah. And it's
actual emotion and energy and feelings. My sister experienced something like this, and she's actually been on the podcast before and shared the story where she met her husband. She was in New York. He was in Australia, and they met online. And they just chatted online for a little while and thought, man, we really like each other. And then they met in person halfway. They met in Hawaii.
nice.
Spent a couple weeks together in Hawaii and said, oh, this is the real deal. Like, we're in. I'm gonna come visit you in Australia. Come visit me in New York. Let's take this to the next level. And she flew home, and that was March 2020. And the whole world went into lockdown.
Oh, that's bad timing right there.
And so they spent the next 18 months dating online. And what's funny is he finally came over to New York on a 90-day fiancé visa for them to get married. And the first time they went driving together, I think they got in this big fight about the way she drove. Right? It's like silly thing that you would have never experienced online, or that, had you dated in person, you would have experienced that in the first 2 weeks of dating this person. And it almost broke them up.
Wow.
And It's not. They're married, have 2 kids, and are great. But that physicality, you're absolutely right, is a huge piece of authenticity and closeness.
Yeah, I really when you say how can people make friends, dude, it's just not easy. It's not easy making friends. There has to be a chemistry. You know what I mean? Timing has to be right. Situation has to be right. Like relationships. Listen, my older clients that are single, looking for love, kind of thing. Whew. What do? I say it's a numbers game. You know, you just go on as many dates as you can. You know, if you're a girl, I get as many free meals as you can. If you're a guy, hey, buy as many free dinners for the person as you can. You know, whatever. Just go on. It's a numbers game. Maybe for dudes trying to find friends, maybe it's a numbers game there too. I don't know. Poker night. I've always wanted to do something like that.
Yeah.
And what you're doing with your, hey, let's build a car. It's a great idea.
Well, it has been great. What's funny too is you have to be a good friend too, and you have to put in effort. You can't sit back and just wonder why guys aren't calling and inviting you to all of the places. This is active participation. The car specifically, I bought this car because I really wanted to build it, but I had in my mind this vision of friends and my son and people just coming over and we would sit around, we'd drink a beer, we'd build a car.
So good.
And months into this thing, I remember sitting with a few buddies and somebody asked me how the car was coming along and I'm kind of butthurt about it. And I'm like, well, none of you guys have even come help me work on this car. And one of my friends was like, you have never invited me to. And he's like, I love cars. I would love to come work on this car with you. But the way you explained this car was that you wanted to build this and this was this thing you were going to do. And I didn't know I was invited.
Communication.
And 2 weeks later, he flew out from Arizona and we spent an entire day just working on the car. He flew out just to work on the car with me.
Yeah. That's cool.
And so I really learned a lesson there where you've got to communicate your wants. And unfortunately there is a numbers game. You're going to have to be open to some rejection. Like if
being uncomfortable.
Like, hey dudes, like who wants to come golfing? Who wants to go to a movie? Who wants to do this? You're not going to vibe with everybody. Mm-hmm. Listen, I just got done with a 2.5-year program with 50 dudes. Love them all. I really do. But I don't communicate regularly with every single one of them. I would consider them all friends, but there's different levels of that friendship based on how we connected and how we did not.
I had a thought on that line. Because you're in this group. I think most of the people in groups like that are in a good financial place.
To some degree.
To some degree. What if life is being so difficult right now financially that people are just working too much to have, free time in order to find a friend? So maybe an answer to your question would be around, you better find someone that you work with. You know what I mean? Because you're friends with people that you're in proximity with typically. So
proximity is a huge part of it. 100%. I have really close friends who I rarely see. And I think you can use, it's funny because we talk about how isolated we are, but I do think that the tools that we have at our hands can help us be more connected if we use them the right way.
Well, I think we're just sometimes I think we get too comfortable being alone.
Sure.
So, we have a lot of ways that we can communicate, invite people to do this and that and meet up here, but that's more uncomfortable than just being alone. And then we're alone for long enough doing our own thing. I'm speaking for myself. I love my company. I'm not trying to be like I'm all that, but I
think you're rare.
I quite enjoy myself.
I think that's wildly rare.
I can spend all day, and sometimes I do, not talking to anybody, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Well,
working around the house, doing puttering, doing this and that.
I think it's probably bad for me to say it's rare. What I will say is I am wildly different. I, for years, kept my schedule so tightly packed to the gills with dates, whatever, because God forbid I have to go be by myself.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like me for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten better at it. And I actually am now more in line with you. I really do enjoy just having me time and don't need anybody else.
Yeah.
But for a long time, it was, I need this. I got to have this date. I got to have this date. I'm going to go do this with these friends. I'm going to go do this on this day.
Yeah. You weren't happy alone.
No.
You had to have these distractions, which is, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. There's a lot of ways we can communicate our needs and make friends, but I think we just get too used to being alone and having our routine, go to work, come home, do the dishes. You know what I mean?
We do.
I do this and that, and I go to bed, or watch a movie, go to bed, and repeat. It's a real oh man.
So I have a really good friend. His name is Colton, and Colton's been on this podcast before. Colton lives in Nephi. I live in Centerville.
Yeah.
We are very far away from each other. Colton and I will send each other Marco Polo almost every day. And it's funny because I remember talking to one of my other buddies about this. And I said, yeah, Colton will send me these 20-minute long Marco Polos. And he's like, and you listen to these? I'm like, yeah. It's like, why? Because I like him. I love the guy. As a lot of people will listen to like the radio or music on the way into work. I listen to Colton.
Yeah.
And we have,
It's funny.
And we have great just back and forth. And it is not uncommon for one of us to cry on one of these Marcos just because we're struggling. We're opening up as a friend. And so tomorrow when I drive down to, but you do have to occasionally have some sort of connection. And so we will try to get a dinner every now and then. And it's very infrequent. It's probably oftentimes months in between times that I'll actually see Colton in person. And so tomorrow when and a lot of this stuff takes action. You have to make this stuff happen.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I'm driving down to St. George and I know I'm going to go past Nephi. And I reached out to Colton. I said, buddy, I'm going to be in Nephi tomorrow. I might just have 10 minutes to get gas. Are you free? Do you want to come grab a bite? We'll chat for 5-10 minutes and I got to continue on my way. He's like, I would love to. And so we'll catch up and that will maintain and keep our friendship at the level that it's at.
Yeah. Maintenance.
Yeah. I don't know.
The time, you do need time. That's couples counseling, as people are shocked when they come in. And I just give them the statistic, 90 minutes a week. That's what it takes to keep people connected through life.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, 90 minutes a week. That's like a Gottman study.
Uh-huh.
So he's like him and his wife are the marriage gurus.
Yeah.
So 90 minutes a week. Otherwise,
with your partner. But I guess this applies to friendships and other relationships as well.
Yeah, you need some time like that. You know how earlier the brain keeps us safe? There's part of our brain that's real dumb. It's real
Monkey
focused. Maybe that's it. Like the immediate
monkey
needs.
brain. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what I needed. So right now I'm going to keep you safe, but our brain's compartmentalized. There's different sections of it in charge of different things. Isn't that wild? You would think it was all one. No, it's like a bunch of little segments all in charge of stuff. They have to figure out how to communicate together, and every one of them has their own like hierarchy. Brains, right? So what I'm trying to get to is we have to overcome that initial need for safety because we have to be uncomfortable enough to fulfill a long-term goal of friendship. Mm-hmm. How do I say this? It's almost like in investing money. I have to give up being uncomfortable. I have to be uncomfortable right now and give money to invest because I know in the long term, that's going to be very beneficial for me. Same thing with this. Yeah, I could stay and do nothing and do my normal routine, go to work, do what I'm used to doing. But I know now that it's better for me to do more things that are uncomfortable. I'm going to reach out to my friend Nick. I'm going to do a Marco Polo. I'm going to schedule time to go work on a car with a friend or sit in a hot tub, or have a poker night, whatever. Or I'm going to do that. I naturally wouldn't because it's not comfortable to do. And I'd rather do something else, but I'm going to do something that I'm comfortable with to have a long-term gain. That might be what this friendship stuff is correlated. And by the way, we do what we value. And just talking about this is going to help people see the value. I hope anyway.
I hope so. Because I think, outside of your own personal relationship with yourself, I think having connection and friendships is an absolute critical component to life.
Yeah, we're humans. We're wired for connection. Mm-hmm. So this whole not connection thing is detrimental.
Yes,
it's a problem. Yeah, and you know what else I think is a problem? Thinking that your partner is going to be the all end all be all.
She's not.
Yeah, it's soulmate.
Or he.
It's what did I tell? Here's the fun one. I told someone the other day, and they were shocked. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong. But they're like, I want to find love and this and that, and I'm like, and I just had this. I'm like, I think love is commitment. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what? I'm like, I think I think that commitment is more important than love.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? Because in my head, people can fall, it's an emotion and everybody has a different definition of it. So you're going to fall in and out of what you describe this emotion to be at that whatever time of life. You're going to fall in and out. So commitment, if you want to find someone to partner up with, find someone that you can build and create a cool life with.
Yeah.
That will commit to that even when things are hard, right? Like, so.
That was a fun lesson for Haley and I. It was because, there's two components to this. First, before we were in this committed relationship, I was in love with this person. She was in love with me, but our personal definitions of I'm in love with this person were wildly different.
It's a great conversation.
Right? She was in love with me, which meant she wasn't talking to anybody else. She wasn't looking at anybody else. She was all in on this. Mm-hmm. I was in love with her, but I also wasn't ready to commit. So I still had some lines in the water and I didn't want to fully jump into this, but I felt those feelings of I really do love this person. We were both right, but we had different definitions of the term. Mm-hmm. And so then fast forward to a month or so later, I'm still struggling with this. What do? I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm ready for this. And I remember my friend Mark just sitting me down and he said, it's a choice.
Yeah, love that.
All you have to do, you're sitting here hemming and hawing and making this so much more complex than it has to be. At the end of the day, this is a choice. You want to be with this girl or not?
Yeah. Yep.
That's it.
Boom.
And now you are a man of integrity. You're a good person. So the second you make that choice, you stick with it and you keep making it every single day, which is commitment.
Yeah. Commitment.
And it was like this switch went off and light bulbs went off that I had not known for years. Mm-hmm. And I just, oh my gosh, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yep. I choose her. Boom. Done. Every other line cut, gone. And that was it.
Yeah. Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. It's what's cool about committing is that even when you're first committed, you're still guarded, right? We're still guarded. We're going through, and just speaking for myself, my wife and I have been married over 20 years now. It's so cool because the longer we're married, it's like the more vulnerable I can be, the more vulnerable. And I'm not all the way vulnerable, by the way. I still have times when I'm feeling stuff that I don't want to tell her.
Sure.
Still feels too unsafe after 20 years, right? So imagine what it's going to be like in 25 years, right? I'll be able to get even more connection.
Yeah.
I think that people will really, this love, this emotion, it's so powerful that it almost engulfs them and they're just not thinking long-term at all. But just for anybody out there in a relationship, a good, healthy relationship, the longer you get to be in that relationship and it's healthy and nice and respectful, the better it gets. I don't know. It's wild. Yeah. The safer you feel, the more vulnerable you can be. Sex is better.
100%.
It just gets better. And they're like, oh, what do you mean? Sex is only good when you don't know what's happening. That's because you haven't experienced it with someone that you've been with for years. You know what I mean? Because, hey, there's a lot to that. First, I don't know what the terrain intimacy is. There's a lot to it. Ooh, your brain's going wild. Sometimes people will mistake that for love.
They do.
And when the new relationship energy stuff wears off, it must not be in love anymore. I guess everybody has their own definitions of love.
They do. Everybody has their own definition. And I think, in my opinion, the most important thing, though, is that you have that relationship and safety with yourself first. I remember my brother and I going to lunch a year or so ago, and he was like, "Man, you're so happy lately. I love it. I love to see this joy radiating off you." I said, "Oh, thanks, man. That means the world to me." He goes, "Yeah, it's so nice that you found somebody like Haley to make you this happy." Hold on, bro. Just a second.
Good stuff.
Haley's great. Don't get me wrong. Soulmate, blah, blah, blah. Past lives, all that shit. Haley doesn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
This is all me. If Haley walks away tomorrow, if she makes a choice to leave me tomorrow, I'll be fine.
Yeah. It'll hurt.
It'll hurt really bad.
Go through the emotions.
I'll go through all that stuff, but guess what? I know I will be just fine.
That's the best place to be. I think that's actually love. Otherwise, boy, clients don't like this when I say this either sometimes. I won't tell them right away. So, but think about it. If you need something to be okay, you don't really choose it. You're desperate. You're needing it. I can't live without it. I'm not choosing that. I have to, like drugs, right? If I'm like, I'm drugs, I need that to be okay. I'm going to do whatever I can to, get my needs met. That's not love. Love is the choice. And you just can't choose someone when you need them.
Ooh, I like that.
It's next level stuff.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there with my wife initially. So however, like I still had a bunch of anxious attachment to work through.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had it until like EMDR. Well, that was EMDR came it was just so unexpected. But the point is, you don't have to find you don't have to be healthy. It's a weird thing to say. You don't have to be healthy to have a good relationship, because you can create a good relationship from I need this person too much relationship. Sure. You can work through that.
Sure. It's
easier to work through without that relationship, but you can, if you're in it, it's easier. You can still do it. Yeah. I've had that too. I'm just babbling. So
I like it. I love that you can't choose something if you need it.
It's a big one. It's not really love. People hate hearing that because they want to think of themselves as.
Of course, you want to think aggrandize it and make it way more than what it is, and it needs to be everything. And
people overcomplicate,
and then that can become suffocating for the other person.
Yeah, I was working with this one dude, cool dude, within a relationship, unhealthy. So he's working on through these things, creating boundaries, making it so some behaviors that were real, I call it choppy, where like people try to chop you down subtly, chop, chop, chop. And controlling. He put boundaries up. It was appropriate. But he thought he was good, right? Oh, we've had this talk. I've done all this work. I'm okay. I'm in a relationship. But I'm doing this stuff. I'm okay. I'll be fine. But guess what though? When he had boundaries down and she's like, you can't do that. You're not doing what I want you to do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to punish you by leaving, kind of thing. Guess what? He thought he was okay. It's almost like I'm playing golf virtually with my virtual glasses. It is a whole lot different when all of a sudden he was on the field. Like,
100%.
so it is actually easier to work through this not being attached to someone, because if you're with someone, you will never have experienced that. You will just never have experienced that.
Yeah.
And I can only say I've done it because there was a time in my marriage where we were separated for a short time. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn that at that time. Mm. So really, that's if I hadn't had that experience, thank goodness I had it, I wouldn't be as sure of myself now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where do you see your practice go in the next 10 years?
Man, you know what? It's been pretty slow. And I'm like, am I making this slowness happen? Because I'm not bored with therapy, but man, I'm bored with people coming in that don't really want to work. Mm-hmm. I'm just bored with it.
Just people dumping.
Well, yeah, if they're not going to do the work, I get real bored real damn quick, mm-hmm. to be honest. And I think they'll probably tell on some level. I've had a lot of people roll through and do good work. So I've had a lull, mm-hmm. So I'm like, I don't know if I want people to come in, because a lot of times they're just not really into it. They're doing it to appease a partner. You know what I mean? I went to therapy. Sure. I'm going to do this, or appease the job. Or appease like some legal issue. I'm like, this is not.
Well, your approach to therapy, though, I think is refreshing. And this is why I tell people I was so connected to you. Because from my perspective, there are so many people who have a therapist and have had a therapist for 10 plus years. They go to their therapist every Tuesday or once a month. And
so let me know that's happening.
It's amazing.
I'll go buy a car. That'll be my payment right there.
Well, and when you and I met, you're like, hey, if you're still seeing me in a year, fire me. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
My job is to give you awareness and some tools and then send you off into the world. And I think that probably creates difficulties for you from a business perspective, right? Where you're like, it's almost like if gravity didn't exist, every breast lift I did would be off and done, and I'd have to constantly be finding new patients for a breast lift.
But it's a great analogy.
But a breast lift patient actually continues to have problems because gravity doesn't go away, and every 15 years or so, we've got to redo the breast lift.
Yeah.
And so it's great. It's built in from a business perspective that I have to continue to work on this person. But with you, it's difficult.
Yeah. It feels unethical.
Sure.
It feels unethical. Because I do have those clients where it's kind of the vibe is, I'm just going to come every week. Mm-hmm. And I keep saying, hey, my wife loves it when I have clients to say that. You know what I mean? Because it's like steady, never have to market again. If I had, 20 of those people, man, that's it. But I'm not gonna feel good about it. I just won't. So if we're not making headway, great. Maybe in the 10 years question, I would love to listen. Hey, for all you therapists out there watching, if you have your own practice, you are not going to be financially successful seeing one-on-one clients. You're going to have to work a whole lot, and you're going to get burned out just to rise wealth-wise. Mm-hmm. You won't. You have to expand, hire people, and then you'll start making money off portions of their time. But if it's just one-on-one, $100, $150, whatever, an hour,
no.
you are not going to do it. So what I would like to do is, I don't know how to build a business, to be honest. Like I haven't had any training in business. I'm just like winging it, to be honest. So I think to be actually successful and move through the levels of wealth, independence, being financially independent, you're going to have to get a clinic, hire people, and then allow that to make money for you.
Yeah.
But do I really want to do therapy for the rest of my life? No, not really. I want to do like more group, meaning I don't want to do one-on-one. I think it's great. It's just not as effective as doing large. That's why I do my YouTube channel. So I think, hey, this is going to reach more people.
Yeah. And you've grown that pretty significantly. So if people want to reach out to you, if people want to find you.
Yeah. Go to the YouTube channel, Jed Said Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
There's over almost 120,000 now.
Damn.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. So there's a YouTube channel. I'm on all the platforms.
How often do you post?
Twice a week, probably.
Nice.
I try to do that, maybe even more. But also, here's the thing: YouTube, I got in trouble. I was monetized, just transparency, but I was using the same stuff on different things, and tweaking a little wasn't enough.
Got it.
So I have to have it. I'm probationary. So you'll see different things on different platforms. I'm trying to do different things on YouTube, more educational. Also, the short therapy clips taken from scenes from movies, and then my own,
I love it,
like stuff. But yeah, there's lots of ways to see me out there.
Okay,
all good information.
And if they want to schedule an actual visit with you,
just go on the website, and I have two. I actually got the jedsaidtherapy.com.
Perfect.
And but it just goes to the main website, meaningtolive.com.
Perfect. And meaning two is with the number 2, correct?
No, you said that last time.
I did say that last time.
Just say Jed Said Therapy.
Jed
It'll
Said
take you
Therapy.
right there.
Go to there. And
this is so good, man. Thanks for having me.
Third time was awesome.
That was
We'll
good.
probably split this up in 2 episodes. I think it's going to be perfect.
I think you split up into 2 episodes and then offer a long episode too.
Yeah, I like that.